Attention! This video is a record of a live stream held at twitch.tv/Corvid_communications. If you want to actively participate in chat or otherwise interact, please follow us on Twitch, and follow us on other social media sites as well. Please enjoy the following content.
Good evening. Whoops, didn't mean to leave that on. That's for later. Just a moment. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Corvid Communications Executive Stream. As always, I am Calvin Cawthorne, CEO of Corvid Communications Incorporated, and your host for the evening. Considering what we are doing tonight, I thought it best to use my chibi model rather than my normal. Just because, well, it's a bit less resource intensive, and I will likely be spending a lot of time not necessarily looking at the camera. So hey, why not look at a funny little silly guy while I'm working? I hope everyone's had a good week. We do have a little bit of a corporate newsletter. And, of course, I think the main event you've all been looking forward to is the announcement of the results of this season's Unfinished Business Poll. For those of you who are not familiar, Unfinished Business Poll is me putting a poll up of games I have played in the past. Games that I have not completed specifically. And I put 3 of them up. I try to work them in a theme if possible. And then I run a poll on both my Discord and various socials. Speaking of, if you want to join the Discord, here is the link. It is also on my YouTube, Twitter, and everything else. But this particular season's Unfinished Business was Lovecraftian horror. And our poll options were Worshippers of Cthulhu, Sunless Sea, and The Sinking City, all of which were heavily inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft, as well as other cosmic horror authors. And, without any further ado, let's go ahead and look at our poll. So, I kept a little chart of all the different results as the polls closed, and it seems as though the winner of this season's poll was Worshippers of Cthulhu. So, for those of you who voted for Worshippers of Cthulhu, congratulations, you won with 6 votes total across all platforms. But, for those of you who voted for The Sinking City or Sunless Sea, don't worry, I will likely still play those games every now and again. And, of course, you're all still winners in my book. So, thank you everyone for participating in our poll. It really does help me out, because sometimes it can be hard to figure out what game I want to play. I can be betwixt and between with indecision, but I also know that most of the time people don't want to watch me just play the same game all the time. Hence why I switch it up. Alright, let's go ahead and close that and go over a couple more announcements. So, on Monday, it is Sinister Endeavor. Actually, is it Sinister Endeavor? No, it would be Shadow over Loathing. That's right. So, this next Tuesday will be Shadows over Loathing. And then, after that, we will be playing Pandemonium, which is a bargain bin horror game I found a while ago, which has the description as follows. Pandemonium is a single-player psychological horror game. You have been taken. The only way out is through 3 eerie mazes where roaming panda-suited strangers are on the hunt. Escape them or become them. It looks about as silly as it sounds. But a friend of mine actually suggested to me a while ago, hey, why not play like some of the lowest rated horror games on Steam and review them? And I thought, why not? Speaking of, this coming Sunday on the 25th, I am going to be playing a game called, I think it was called, Alone in the Dark Illuminations, which is a Left 4 Dead clone. And since Left 4 Dead is, of course, well known for its multiplayer, I am going to be playing this with Royce G Gaming and Finley Fish. I don't know if you're in the chat, but if you are, I am going to shout each of you out at various points in this stream. Royce G Gaming. There we go. Shout out to Royce G Gaming. Go follow him. He is wonderful. And I will do Finley Fish once the timer pans out. Where else was I? My brain is many places. Ah, yes. So what I'm going to be doing tonight is I am going to be playing Spirit City Lo-Fi while I work on some projects that I'm working on the 26th, which is my streaming anniversary. That's right, I have been streaming for 2 years now, and I have been greatly enjoying my experience. I love creating content. It's always fun for me, and that's kind of the whole point, actually. I mean, the point of streaming is to have fun. That's the point of content creation. If you're not enjoying what you make, it's going to show in what you do. Anyway, enough of my... Would that be philosophizing? Pontificating? I don't know. I just know I'm probably speaking from some sort of pulpit. Anyway, let's go ahead and do some adjustments, because it seems like certain computer updates happened, which in turn kind of decided to mess with my overlays. So we're going to fix that real fast. I really need to be better about fixing some of these things before... Oh, wait, this one's not due to an update. This one's due to the fact that I had to shift the screen resolution to facilitate penumbra. Anyway, we're going to set ourselves right to writing. And because of the nature of this, I can also have the music on. I hope you're hearing it all well. Yeah. Alright, let's set ourselves to an activity, shall we? Put me at my desk, put me typing. There we go. And let's exit out of this. How do I... That's not. But first, let's get a timer going, shall we? This is new. Okay. Looks like they had an update here recently, which caught me by surprise because I actually haven't done this in a minute. So we're going to go for about 45-minute streaks of writing and maybe 15-minute breaks, which roughly suits how I normally do things. This is actually... I'll admit, this has actually been really, really good for me when it comes to keeping things in hand. Speaking of, I should check these off. I've actually written most of the story. I just need to actually do a bit of recording and a little bit of a rewrite. Believe it or not, Royce actually helped me a bit with this. He kind of gave me a second opinion on some steps of the story I'm currently writing. So, we're going to go ahead and get that timer going. Alright. But yeah, I hope everyone's been having a good week. I myself have tried French press coffee for the first time this week. In my upbringing, I was not allowed to drink coffee, but I've been kind of getting into it just out of curiosity. And I'd been hearing from various acquaintances, both VTubing and non-VTubing, that French press coffee is quite delicious. And after trying it for myself, I am inclined to agree. It is quite tasty. I'm just trying to figure out how I prefer it. So far, I bought a pre-ground blend. It's very, very tasty. But also, I hear it tastes better when you grind the beans yourself. Interesting. All right. So, let's get to writing, shall we? So, part of this experiment also came about. I just realized this probably isn't the music I want. This does not sound like my spooky vibes. That's that's more like it. This sounds way too cheerful. I'm not cheerful, I am gloomy. Gloomy. I know not happiness. Alright. Typing, 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 typing. But yeah, Royce actually kind of suggested this to me a while back too, because I've been trying to develop the Corvid Communications setting for a while now. Because believe it or not, Corvid Communications is not the only monstrous business in my setting. There are many rivals, some large, some small, each of them with their own plans for humanity, with the majority of humanity being none the wiser. And how can I develop humanity's place in this universe, as well as the various companies, unless I am able to write stories for them? So, I have written at least one short story at this point. Oh, I can probably shout out Finleyfish now. Shout out Finleyfish. Let me make sure I'm spelling that right, actually. I think I'm spelling that right. Please send this right. Oh, good, I was the right person. Yes! That's kind of the problem with banning and all that. Sometimes you just don't spell a name right, and then it just becomes a massive pain in the butt. Alright. I've actually been having somewhat of a... You know what, I don't think it's actually been that hectic, but it's been, busy. And I'll be honest, I'm very much a not busy sort of person. Like, I don't make it a habit of trying to pack my schedule with things, but, like, there's a lot. Also, my son's being watched by his aunt this weekend. For those of you who, well, maybe don't have a partner or don't have a kid, like, one of the great best parts of before having kids was actually being able to kind of talk, have time to ourselves. It was one of the best things about having someone with you. But the thing is, like, when you become a parent, the child demands your attention at all times. And it's not his fault. He's developing, you know? But at the same time, sometimes you got to have some time to yourselves as parents, like to recharge, because much as you love your your child, whether they're male, female, or what have you, parenting is kind of inherently stressful. That being said, I love baby Cawthorn. He's developing new words. Picking up some words I wish he'd rather not know. Which, unfortunately, I also know I'm the person he learned it from. Tell you what, sometimes it's things like this where it's not a busy stream that you realize just how hard it can be just kind of to chat to yourself. But that's just kind of the nature of the beast. So, believe it or not, I actually wasn't really writing the much of the story itself. I was trying to do a little addition to a finished story just to kind of add a bit more emotionality to a specific scene. So, next I'm working on the epilogue because I'm planning on trying to release these in sort of an anthology style, if that makes sense. Like, the stories themselves may not have a through line, but they're connected by sharing a setting effectively. Alright, what was I Yeah, baby. CEO entrepreneur, born in 1964, Calvin Cawthorn. Oh, whoops, I forgot to put the heads-up display on. There we go. No, nothing gets in the way of those sweet, sweet vibes. But yeah, tonight's not going to be the very, what's the word I'm looking for? Active stream. So like I said, if you just want to hang out, just chill, listen to some tunes, that's perfectly fine. Oh yeah, Miss Cawthorn and I are actually... So, I heard from Honey Grimoire about this store chain called Daiso. It's kind of like a Japanese... I don't believe this is entirely accurate, but kind of like a Chinese Five Below. It's probably the closest I could compare it to, where it's like, it's cheap stuff, but it's good quality stuff for the price point. You know, unlike a 99-cent store or a Dollar General or whatnot, where you'd be buying a bunch of cheap crap. But, as I was saying, there's one opening in my area tomorrow, and me and Mrs. Cawthorn are going to go see it. And Mrs. Cawthorn actually has has a quilt she made in a local quilting show, and she wants to show it to me at the show tomorrow. I'm looking forward to going. Oh, I forgot the name of a character. Go to my little manuscript. By the way, does anyone in the audience here know how to stream, like, say, from an iPad into OBS? Asking for a friend. Because I also have been getting into doing art for myself. Well, art of myself, if that makes any sense. And I have no idea how to get that to show on screen. Like, I know it's possible. I don't doubt that. I have seen it done. I have seen plenty of people stream art. I just want to know how to do it because the way I do art is from an iPad using Procreate. Is it possible to do it with a capture card, do you think? If so, I might only need to buy like one cable and I can get it done. Alright. Chilly vibe, chilly vibe, ba ba ba. Alright. Do 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 ah, do ah, da, do 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 ah, do ah, do 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 ah, do ah, do ah, da, do. I hope you guys are amused, and thank you for hanging out with me. It does mean a lot. I mean, kind of means a lot to me when anyone's here, really, because here's the thing, like, I know I'm not popular, and I'm probably not gonna be. I'll be honest, actually, if I had to, like, have a quote-unquote goal for VTubing, like, sure, it'd be great if I were to make enough to actually live off of this, but to me, I feel like I'll have made it if this hobby winds up being, self-sustaining, if that makes sense. Like, I can use the money I make from this to support the hobby and reinvest in it itself. Like, for example, buying games, updating anything, investing in any technology I want to add to the stream, stuff like that. Also, I think it kind of goes without saying, but in these particular streams, I'm talking more as, out of character Cawthorn, not Mr. Cawthorn, evil CEO of a corporation. If you needed a little bit more specifics on that, if that checks out. Oh, yeah, I think so too, because that's the thing. It's like, I don't need to be like making this for a living, because like, I actually have a day job outside of this, and I actually really like what I do for work. I mean, sure, there are times where I kind of get up in my head and I'm like, oh, I want to do creative stuff, but that's just kind of the part of, part and parcel when you have a job. But I like what I do. I like the people I work with for the most part. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like I just want to be able to do this as a fun hobby because here's the thing, okay? I enjoy doing this. Like, the reason I VTube is because I like to, I guess I could say it's like I like to make things, but I don't like having my face associated with that, if you know what I mean. Also, I just have fun playing a character. I mean, I've never actually played a TTRPG on screen, but I am very much a role-playing game nerd, and I like to write and play as characters. I have been since I was a kid. Like, yeah, that's exactly it. That being said, though, I've actually made some, I think, pretty good friends doing this too. But yeah, it's kind of important because that's the thing. It's like I this is kind of something I worry about when I play characters. Those that granted, my personality kind of shines through on streams a little bit, but I very much like horror, which is what inspired me to write Cawthorn. Like, believe it or not, I wrote me, Mr. Cawthorn, long before I started streaming. I actually originally created this character for a ARG project that I kind of just lost motivation to keep doing after a while. And I'm actually planning on doing a lot more with not just Cawthorn, but with the setting outside of the Corv Communications company itself, because I like creating settings. It's very, very fun for me. And for me, like, the Calvin Cawthorn plus just the entire setting as a whole is both a creative muse as much as it is a creative outlet. Like, personal experiences have kind of influenced it to a degree, as well as just having elements that I liked from, media you see. Like, some artists don't want to admit this, but what people make is often both influenced by what they see and what they experience. It's like that old saying, write what you know. And that doesn't necessarily mean like writing just only the things you're educated about. It means like the things that affected you, things you want, things that horrify you. If you write about those things, you're more likely to write something that's going to resonate with somebody. I think that's what makes good writing versus bad writing. Like, in a lot of ways, writing a story is a very personal thing. For example, for me, I'm going to be very open about this, just because since I'm planning on kind of trying to pull together a collab for my stream anniversary, I'm probably going to use this time to be a little candid. Just because, well, why not? But, like, Welcome to Night Vale was a podcast I listened to. Actually, I've been listening to it a bit more recently, but it was somewhat of an influence for me, as well as Twilight Zone. In fact, Rod Sterling is a bit of a... Like, I themed myself very much after Rod Sterling as far as my visuals go, except the story is different. And for those of you who don't know what Rod Sterling is, he's basically the guy who does the opening and closing monologues for Twilight Zone episodes. He's the guy who's like, picture, if you will. I mean, I could lie and say I was influenced by the Night Gallery, but I actually haven't seen that, believe it or not. But yeah, there's several things that go into it. Like, for example, cosmic horror. I've read H.P. Lovecraft. I also acknowledge the problematic stuff of his work. But H.P. Lovecraft was an influence. Welcome to Night Vale, Twilight Zone. And honestly, I've kind of, for most of my life, actually, I have been intrigued by the supernatural. Does it mean I necessarily believe in all of the supernatural things? No, not really. For example, ghosts? Yeah, that's kind of the thing. But the thing about H.P. Lovecraft is the problematic things of his work are very much, unfortunately, it. Oh, thank you for continuing your subscription, White Wolf. By the way, good to see you. I hope you're well. I'm doing pretty well today. It's just kind of chill. Baby Cawthorn is being watched by his aunt this weekend, so me and Mrs. Cawthorn are going to have a nice, relaxing weekend after stream today. I'm going to be working on a few side projects as well. In fact, I'm working on a few right now. Mr. Mr. Cree? What? You're gonna have to explain that one to me, Royce. Yeah, it is. CE. That makes sense. How are you doing, Royce? Oh, I saw you were playing Lost Judgment earlier. How'd that go? I didn't get to catch it because I was driving earlier. Also, I did shout out Royce earlier. Go follow Royce. He is wonderful, and he's also one of the people I am going to be gaming with this coming Sunday on the 25th. Dude, it happened. Believe it or not, okay, I run a meeting. Most of my job is to run meetings to just kind of coordinate production efforts at my actual job. And here's the thing, okay? One of the things I do is I maintain a massive database spreadsheet that has basically a company-wide gripe sheet. At least as far as the production area goes. And I have misspelled things that have gotten a really, really big laugh at meetings. But yes, misspellings happen, dude. No matter how good of a typist you are, no matter how much you examine it, typos are going to happen. Oh yeah, it's okay to laugh. It's okay to misspell things. You don't need to be perfect 100% of the time. All right, what section? Oh, it's this section. Nah, guess I didn't write it. Okay. You're doing all right. Trying my best to stay hydrated in the Texas heat and enjoying some mochi ice cream. Oh, mochi ice cream. That sounds Oh, I haven't had mochi ice cream, I think, since college. The grocery store I worked at had a cooler full of stuff. I think it was called My Mochi or something. I liked buying them in kind. But yeah, please do stay hydrated and just try to do what you can to stay out of the heat. I warn my coworkers of the same thing because a lot of them are. I don't work on the factory floor a lot. I do occasionally help out just because I want to learn the process, and I just occasionally enjoy working with my hands. But I, for the most part at my job, am mostly walking around or at my desk. But I'm always like, hey, it's getting hot. Make sure y'all are staying hydrated. Take a break if you need to, because, summer's coming up, and I also especially know the importance of staying cool because this week, thankfully, it was a cold spell, but my air conditioner was broken. And that wasn't exactly fun because I was having to call my landlord and call maintenance and be like, "Hey, get this sorted out. I want this to be fixed when this cold spell ends." Because last weekend, Mrs. Cawthorn, baby Cawthorn, and I were just dying in the heat. It was just we were in our place. We were just sitting in the living room, just sweating bullets like this. Doesn't help that most of the living area for our place is on the upper floor, so it's like it's inherently warmer than it would be otherwise, just because, heat rises. It's why usually your upstairs will be a tad bit warmer than your downstairs. But yeah, very, very fun stuff. And by fun stuff, I mean horrible to deal with. But hey, they finally got it fixed, and thankfully the cold spell's still around. So it means when summer's finally in full swing, I'm not going to be desperately trying to escape the heat with no relief. Because I think I've mentioned this in my Discord a few times, but I cannot stand when it's way too hot. Like, yeah, I'm still uncomfortable when it's cold, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot easier to escape the cold than it is to escape the heat, if that makes sense. Like, when it's cold, okay, you can bundle yourself up to a point where you're comfortable. But heat, like, yeah, sure, you can only take so many layers off before it's uncomfy, but like, you can be completely clothless and still feel like you're boiling alive. It's just, yeah, I get that. I have to work outside. I usually end up, yeah, definitely, I get that, White Wolf. Keep a large water with you. And here's the thing, okay? I was a Boy Scout when I was a kid, okay? All right, so I actually worked at a scout camp for 2 summers in a row in high school. And one of the things that we were always told was not just to keep hydrated, but also, keep aware for signs of like heat stroke, heat exhaustion, basically conditions where the body is having a hard time handling the heat. And like the remedies were like, get in the shade, rest, get an AC if you can. But yeah, that's kind of it. Just do what you can to keep yourself cold, because it's a lot easier to warm yourself up when you're cold than otherwise. And for me, my big problem is if it's too hot, especially in high humidity, my brain stops working. Like, because it's not just I'm hot, it's I'm sweaty, I feel like the heat is sapping my strength, and then it's just, I get miserable when it's hot. But like when it's cold, it's like, sure, I'm still uncomfy, like I still feel it, but compared to when it's hot, like I'm a lot less uncomfortable, and my head is still clear, like I can still think. Whereas when it's too hot, like I swear I can hear my brain beeping like an overheated computer. Net fun. Not fun at all. Mr. Montgomery. Malcolm, that was it. Sorry, I was trying to remember a character I wrote's name. Which, given the fact that I have bad memory for names, can be a bit of a problem. Hopefully you're not near my area of Texas. It's starting to get near the triple digits, and don't get started on the humidity. Oh gosh. Like that would be absolute, that would be my personal hell. Like, just, I've said this. I literally just said this. I don't do that level of heat. But no, I'm not in Texas, thankfully. But you stay cool, White Wolf. That just sounds like just miserable to work in. Although, to be fair, I am familiar with high heat and humidity. I spent a while in Florida. Yeah. We don't get that hot yet. The way you said yet, that's a little foreboding, don't you think? So yeah, glad you're keeping cool up there, Landmog. Also, welcome. I think I might have told you that already. It's all in Where the Forest Fire. Ah. Gotcha. I grew up in Southern California. Like, there was always at least one wildfire every year. In fact, I think it was a couple summers before college. There was actually a. To be honest, I'm already used to it. Although the heat still gets to me, I try to follow the unwritten rules of living in a hot climate. Ooh, what are the unwritten rules? Tell me. Because that's the thing about unwritten rules. I know I'm not going to get them unless someone tells me. Oh no, there'll be written rules if you get told. What? Tell me. It's like. Tell me. I've never been part of an inside. It. But I need to know. Like, unwritten rules are like inside jokes. They're things I want to be a part of, but no one tells me. Oh, Landmog, thank you for the daily sacrifice. Rest assured, your clients are in good hands. Avoid dark colors. Oh no, that'd be terrible for me. What dark colors are my favorite to wear? Wear short khakis or anything short you can. Always carry water or something to stay hydrated. Wear a hat and bring sunglasses. You know, some of those are ones I follow in my everyday life, although I'll admit avoiding dark colors is kind of hard for me just because it's what I like to wear. So it actually is the bulk of my wardrobe. Like, believe it or not, I grew up very sheltered, so I wasn't allowed to have, like, gothy sort of clothing back when I was a kid, but, like, personality-wise, I was pretty much a goth in all but appearance at that point. Like, do any of you remember Neopets at all? Am I that old that Neopets doesn't exist in your mind? But anyway, Neopets, it was this virtual pet game. My favorite area in the game, I know it's still around. I think I might have actually tried to make an account a while back just because I wanted to relive some nostalgia. But my favorite area was the Haunted Woods. It was just this area that was full of ghosts, monsters, and I loved it. And mind you, when I first played Neopets, I think I was like 6, 7. Yeah, you remember White Wolf. Oh yeah, they re-released those, but they were before my time. Yeah. But yeah, I remember I played that so much as a kid. Probably more than I should have. Oh, looks like we got the ad break coming in. Although, to be fair, we're probably not going to be taking a typical intermission unless I actually need a break, so just because of the nature of this particular stream. So, rest assured, other than maybe a little bit of conversation, you're probably not missing too much of the action during the ad break, but I do apologize. But yeah, Neopets was the shit for me, and I think as I grew older, I liked more and more like supernatural oriented stories. Like, I think there was I became interested in ghost stories, stories about monsters, folklore. I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies, although I'll admit the ones I've seen didn't really scare me all that much. But I've kind of always been into like that sort of thing. Granted, I personally have my limits. Like, for example, I would never mess with a Ouija board because to me it's like there are certain things you just don't play with. You know? But on the other hand, there is something kind of inherently funny about also trust me on it, wearing dark colors in an area with humidity and almost triple digit heat like that is almost asking. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that my friends have a coffee table as a Ouija board for their wedding, and I made little pencils as coasters for it. That's cool. Oh, that's cool. But what I mean is, like, I would never use a Ouija board for what it's supposed to be used for. Although, as I was kind of saying before I got off on a little bit of a tangent, I do find it kind of funny the idea of like a Parker Brothers board game somehow being able to summon demons. Like, there's something kind of funny in that. I also believe that I may have just gotten inspired on another company for my setting. I'm gonna write that down real fast. But yeah, for me, it's like I'm not the one to sort of poke the bear when it comes to things like that. So like, if he isn't great, I'm just not going to. Because if in the directory they accidentally mixed up Trivial Pursuit and the Ouija board. Yes, see, Trivial Pursuit. You pick up a card, and it asks, what is the name of the central deity in Lovecraft's fiction? And then suddenly you manage to summon Azathoth somehow. Alright, I need to. Alright. Synonym. Oh, thank you for the daily sacrifice, White Wolf. You know, I love how I looked up synonyms and antonyms, and it said it'd give me that, but for some reason it decided not to actually give me the damn synonyms. But yeah, I gotta write down this idea before it goes away from me, otherwise I'm gonna lose it. And that's not good. Like, for those of you who are actually getting into writing, I will recommend this. If you have an idea for anything, a story, a world, anything, like, you don't necessarily have to write a full lore spiel initially, but write down your ideas. They do not keep. Oh yes, I have 2 notebooks full of ideas and I use them for different projects as I go along. That's the way to do it. Like, I think part of what made me start writing, Royce actually was the reason I started writing short stories. I think I've said that earlier in this very stream, but he said it might be a good idea to build on the world I was making because here's the thing, okay? When you're doing world building, it is so easy to just get caught in the world building. Just want to make everything perfect, right? All the lore before you've even started making a story. But that's kind of the thing. If you get caught in that, you never actually make something with it. And that's kind of the thing you gotta avoid. Because here's the thing, okay? I am bad at spontaneity. I never have been. And having a family kind of makes that even worse. Like, reminds me of a friend of mine that DMs for D&D. He naturally has notebooks full of ideas for a campaign. Yeah, and that's it. That's exactly it. Like, you fill your... Yes, write down your ideas. Build your world, but also don't forget to actually make the story. Because some of your best ideas, I think, come when you're actually writing the narrative. I believe so. Why? Okay, I don't know if we have ink, though. Huh. Yeah. I did tell them the AC's fixed. And that we were suffering for like a week, but thankfully there was a cold spell. Last weekend, however, was miserable. Hmm? Alright. Where was I? Oh, that's where I was. Sorry, that whole conversation about the Ouija board gave me an idea, so I decided to write it down before I lost it.
Write it down.
Mm-hmm. Write it down. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully. We just haven't had to use the printer, so I keep forgetting to buy some.
Oh, I also. I'm sure I could fix that.
Alright. Well, this is an interesting one. I just learned the songwriter who wrote the Dixie Chicks song Earl's Gotta Die, that's actually part of the world that he made in order to help him make songs. And he's used that character in many other songs that he wrote. I bring this up because you were talking about worldling. That's exactly it, Landmog. That is exactly it. Like, Landmog? Just that the songwriter who wrote Dixie Chicks basically made a setting for the character in Earl's Gotta Die.
My sister would always sing that song whenever I brought up
Gotcha. Well,
you know what her name was?
no,
Marianne.
I haven't heard the song Earl's Gotta Die, so you gotta.
Oh, because it says Marianne and Wanda were the best of friends all through the rest of the day.
Yeah,
Those members of the 4-H club so back and it goes on.
Mhm.
But that was why they'd be like, oh yeah, me and my friend Marianne did that. I'm like, Marianne, every time.
and believe it or not, Stephen King actually, the bulk of his works all take place in the same setting as well. I love that I can hear the conversation that I heard. Yeah, Mrs. Cawthorn's actually been a guest on one of my streams too. Actually, we should figure out when to do that. This is true. We need to figure out when to have another Corvid couple time. But yeah, New Year's Eve, actually, I had Mrs. Cawthorn was guest starring with me on stream, and we played Mario Party. She whooped me. She beat me both times. Speaking of Stephen King, my favorite novel of his is The Mist. That's a good one, actually. But yeah, I think a book I've wanted to read, I'm probably going to get through that when I get to that one once I get to through my other things on my list. I have always wanted to read Pet Sematary. I actually watched the 2019, I think, Pet Sematary movie recently. I personally didn't find it scary, and one of the things that I really enjoy, specifically if you find the audiobook, and it's a much better ending than the movie. I'm willing to bet so, because I know kind of the base story of Pet Sematary, and the new movie changed a lot from the book. Like, in the story, it's actually the son who dies, but in the movie, it's the daughter. And to me, it's like, okay. Base the story off a bit if you must, but if you are making a movie out of a book, you, by definition, I think, are obligated to try and follow the book's basic story, at the very least, as closely as possible, which means you do not change one of the major plot elements of said movie. Like, you can embellish, sure. You can add details that might not be in the book, sure. But do not change the basic plot structure. Like, who dies and who does not die are things that should not change if you're making a movie based off of a book. That, I think, is something that is obvious. Also, rant over. Sorry. Why am I spacing on what this means? which is why Witcher fans like myself don't like the Netflix series. They tried changing a lot of stuff, and Henry Cavill tried to stop them, but got fired because of it. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. It's like, again, if you're making an original story, fine, do what you want, but do not change things that are established. Like, for example, if you're making a Pet Cemetery movie, the son's should be the one who dies. Because that is literally what the book's about. The son dies, the dad can't deal with it, so he buries them in a creepy cemetery that brings things back to life, possessed, and story. But that's the thing. That is exactly the thing. It's one thing if you're inspired by something. If you're inspired by something but making it your own, by all means, make any changes you like. But again, if you are literally making an adaptation, you are obligated to follow what you're basing it off of. I will, however, make exceptions. Like, if you're willing to make a Lovecraft story without, removing all of the racism, by all means, do it. Do it, you're doing everyone a favor. For example, I think it was a Color Out of Space film adaptation, which actually took the setting from the 1920s and put it in a modern setting. It took out a lot of the more problematic elements of Lovecraft's work, and I've actually seen the movie. Nicolas Cage stars in it of all people, and I actually think it was a really, really good adaptation of the story. It still, got all of the base elements of the story down. It embellished a little bit, sure, but also they changed it enough that I was willing to let some of those changes slide, you know? Alright. Please. I keep getting massively distracted today. Maybe I'm just too chipper. Or maybe I have been indulging in the caffeine just slightly too much. But then again, what's a little more caffeine? You know, I think that was probably one of the best times I've ever done an evil laugh. That's actually ripped from a clip I made, believe it or not. Like, that soundbite is taken from my own recordings of my own stream. Express displeasure. Oh, wait. No, that was me testing a redeem earlier. Sorry, I was like, did someone put that redeem? Why is nothing being thrown at me? There's supposed to be things thrown at me, dang it. Good to know it's still working. Speaking of caffeine, I've been thinking of making a cold brew version of a coffee in my area. Ooh, that sounds fun. So, you don't have to tell me the name, but, like, what's special about the blend, if you don't mind my asking? because I'm very curious. Like I said, I have been trying French press coffee. I have been liking what I've been making, although so far I've discovered that I like my coffee with 2 sugars and a little bit of milk. So far. But also, I'm working with pre-ground beans, so obviously there's some quality things to be taken care of first. One of the things that's been recommended to me is buy the whole beans and grind them myself. Which, given the fact that coffee is technically a spice, that makes sense. Like, if you want this is the Chef Cawthorn speaking. If you want your spices to be as flavorful as possible, you should buy whole spices and then grind it yourself. That is how you get your spices at like the peak of quality. But of course, whether or not you can actually like do that, it can be kind of hard to get some spices whole. Like for example, nutmeg. Nutmeg's a spice, or like cinnamon. Cassia actually is the real name for the spice. Is really easy to get a hold of. But I love you. What? It's asking you how many copies you make.
One.
I think you'd have to do all those separately. It's just warming up. Sorry. It has orange and cinnamon in it, and the hot version usually has dulce de leche mixed in it. The coffee special is called the Rio Grande Special. Interesting. I actually, I did an experiment today. I made coffee. First off, at Royce's suggestion, I made it. I let coffee steep for like 8 minutes in my French press before pushing down the plunger, and I actually added both a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of cayenne pepper, if you can believe it. I tried that at a local coffee house that Mrs. Cawthorn and I went to at Mrs. Cawthorn's suggestion. What was that place called? Do you remember? It was attached to a tattoo parlor.
I know.
Okay. But we went there and I saw that there was cayenne pepper in the iced coffee drink, and I was like, that sounds interesting. Let's try it. And I actually really, really liked it. Because here's the thing, okay? Like, cayenne pepper goes really well in chocolate, believe it or not. And I thought, chocolate goes well with coffee. I've heard it said if you use coffee extract with your... Did it pronounce right? Yeah, we're gonna need getting cartridges. Most office supply stores. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, probably. Oh, okay. I'm going to get a go to intermission real fast, just for a moment. Corvid Communications cares deeply about the physical, mental, and emotional health of its employees. In these next 3 videos, we will be going over how to handle all 3 aspects of your health. We will begin by going over what it means to be physically healthy. To begin, we must understand the purpose of the body. The body is the vessel for your consciousness, and in order for your consciousness to be happy, your body must be healthy and clean. At Corvid Communications, we expect you to be neat and clean each day. Your coworkers should not be able to smell the rancid odors that come from your disgusting bodily functions, whether that be the unpleasant odors of the body's flawed temperature regulation system, or the even more offensive odors of the body's waste disposal system. Here are some of the basic hygiene steps that must be followed in order to keep operations running smoothly. Bathing. Brushing your teeth. Using deodorant. Moisturizing your skin. Washing your hands. Wiping when using the restroom. Failure to follow these basic hygiene guidelines will result in disciplinary action. If you are following these guidelines exactly, and yet you find people are still unwilling to be in close... Sorry about that. So, yeah. We found out we needed to get some printer ink today, and the reason for that is because, well, we haven't really printed anything since, well, before September. Personal recommendation for the next time y'all make hot chocolate, add some cayenne pepper and cinnamon. Yes, I actually do that. I think it adds a nice extra taste. But yeah, cayenne pepper pairs really well with chocolate, so I figure, coffee and chocolate pair well together. Therefore, it could stand to reason that cayenne pepper would possibly pair well with coffee. And I was correct. It's not like those PB&J Reese's I've been seeing at the store now. Because here's the thing, okay? Chocolate and fruit flavors, good. Chocolate and peanut butter together, good. Jam and peanut butter, obviously good, because, PB&J is a thing. But here's the thing, okay? You can logic that, sure, if they all go together separately, they should go well together. Yes, this is a fairly reasonable inference, but that is not 100% the case, Because it's just like, sometimes, something that pairs well with one thing and another thing does not pair well with the first and third thing combined. Does not necessarily mean the second thing will pair well with the first and third thing combined with each other, Like, just because fruit flavors of jam would go well with chocolate and jam goes with peanut butter does not mean it would go well with chocolate and peanut butter together. But, it's one of those things where it's like, you won't know unless you try it. I'm not surprised. Being cartridge? They should be on the dresser in a bag. I'm sorry. Hmm. Oh. I need to take a sip of water. Also, I've been trying to go to the gym more recently. I've actually been doing really well. I think I'm ready to move up in weight for most of my chest exercises. Just because I hit what I consider the minimum amount of reps in each set to move up in weight. Because I try to move up in weights very carefully. Another thing I have been considering recently is investing in, say, a weighted vest and wrist and ankle weights. But the problem is a lot of what's at the store is only up to like 2 pounds, and to me it's like 2 pounds. Like, I wouldn't even feel that. How am I going to get big bicep if weight only go up to 2 pounds? But I am doing some research into that because here's the thing, okay? Like, yes, I get part of it's just the anime trope of weighted clothing, just kind of scratching my monkey brain in the right way. But to me, it's just also like I kind of want to feel as though I'm wearing something heavy, if that makes sense. Also, hey, if I ever get into Renaissance fairs and actually want to get armor, I can actually reasonably wear it. Because then I'll be used to wearing heavy things. By the way, have any of for those of you in chat, have any of you ever been to a Renaissance fair? Is it fun? Let me know. Because I've always... There are a bunch of things I wanted to do when I was a kid that I never got to growing up just due to having a somewhat sheltered upbringing. Like, for example, I didn't get into Dungeons and Dragons in spite of really, really wanting to play it when I was a kid, just because at the time growing up, I knew no one who played it. But then in college, a lot of my friends were also getting intrigued, so we all just bought starter sets and whatnot and started playing. Renaissance Fair is another one of those things. No, unfortunately, but everyone I've seen who's gone has had fun. In the movies, they have fun. Yeah, that's the thing, like, it always looks so freaking fun. LARPing's another thing I've always wanted to do, because it seemed fun. There's a movie called Loy the Conqueror that's Residence? So, the movie's called Lloyd the Conqueror. I'm definitely going to look that up later. But what's Residence? Please explain. Please explain. The boss is confused. Oops, too many words. Too many words. Why is it too many words? I do speech to text typing sometimes, and I don't look when I hit send. Yeah, here's the thing, okay? Like, I don't, I'm not gonna complain to anyone who does use like speech to text typing, but me, I don't trust it to like pick up correctly what I'm saying. I think it's mostly just because my dictions are a little weird sometimes, but yeah, it's just I do not trust speech to text to actually know what I'm saying. Though to be fair, I actually have been meaning to get stream captions on for a while now. I should really get on that, getting that set up properly. Because like I got the extension, I just don't think I ever actually set it up to go. Because I want people to be able to read what I say as I say it. Because I personally cannot watch a movie without subtitles. Well, that is when it does take time to train the system to recognize what you're saying. Yeah. Also, I like actually typing. Granted, I tend to fat finger it a lot when I'm typing on my phone, but like I like typing. It's on a computer especially because then I like little clicky when I type. It's fun. It's very. All right. My brain is in a blender. CEO and Trumpinor for 1964 Calvin Cawthorn. Investigation. And another LARPing movie to look up, it's called Knights of Badassdom. I don't know why, but with a title like that, that just makes me think of the Borderlands series. I should really get a crew together to play that at some point. But yeah, like Knights of Badassdom, that just makes me think of, hi, I'm Dork, and I just have one question for you. Explosions! Nice, chill evening. Sometimes it's nice to have that. Like, I like gaming. I like playing games a lot. But sometimes it's nice just to have these little chats. Like I said, I think when I first introduced this particular segment, I intended this to just be sort of a little thing that happens every now and again, just for funsies. Also to help give me time to work on content. Although I'll admit, today and especially, I think I'm getting more distracted than anything. I'm not complaining, though. Alright. You. Alright. The whole talk about flavor pairings remind me of the time I tried peanut butter whiskey. To be honest, wasn't a big fan. I'm not all that familiar with what whiskey tastes like, but I believe you, White Wolf. But yeah, I believe you. Like I get enough that whiskey's like a alcohol that has a burn when you drink it. And I don't know why, but I feel like that would not pair well with the thick stickiness of peanut butter. So it's like, not only is it burning, it's staying in your mouth because it's suffused with peanut butter. Actually, believe it or not, so I talk very enthusiastically with my wife about what I write sometimes. Oh, That, and there are better pairings with whiskey like cinnamon, honey, apple being mixed with bourbon. Oh yeah, I think I've seen that on a liquor store every now and again. But yeah, I talk with my wife a lot about my writing. So just like, oh, that's how I add a new one. Whoops. Alright, so I need to go up a level to make the new one. New manuscript. Oh, for those of you who don't know, I'm doing most of this writing on World Anvil, which, if you're doing world building, is a great site because it allows you to make almost a wiki of your setting, which allows you to kind of segment your lore and also reference it easily. I find it very fun and kind of intuitive to use. I highly recommend it. That reminds me, like, so I only recently, and even then only occasionally, have drank, but I don't think I've ever really been drunk, mind you. But like, my family has used alcohol in cooking for years. My brother actually makes a really, really good peach cobbler, and his secret to it is Fireball whiskey. And I've tried this peach cobbler. It's amazing. I've also seen bourbon being added to pecan pies and apple pie. I'd believe it. I don't feel like that. I feel like that'd be a pretty good combo. Oh, I opened the wrong drawer. Whoops. Let's see. Special strains. Where's my script? I wrote a script. Where was it? Oh, there it is. Alright. It's pretty good. Personally, I'd add rye whiskey to stews, especially when I make game stew. Oh, do you do hunting a bit, White Wolf? Interesting. Like, I've tried a few game meats myself. I've personally never been hunting, but I've tried deer, duck, moose, actually, believe it or not. Although that one was very freezer burned, so it had the texture and taste of genuine leather. I mean, after I seasoned it, it tasted fine, but it was very tough. A bit, although mostly I trade with a neighbor of mine who hunts a lot more frequently than I do. I see. Um, hmm. Ooh, I gotta work on one of my articles. Do-do-do-do. Oh, that's right. I haven't actually made the article for it yet. Another one. Deer is pretty good. There's a trick I was taught to reduce the gamey flavor that game has by my professor when I was getting my associates. Interesting. I actually kind of like the gamey flavor, believe it or not. Although I've had ground venison once, it makes the patty is going to be kind of crumbly, but flavor wise, some of the best burgers I've ever had. Although I'm betting if you had some breadcrumbs, it might actually hold a little better together. Alright, got some stuff typed up because I needed to. Believe it or not, I finished the writing parts of the project I was intending to work on tonight. I'm working on the next part of it now. Although, question is, should I continue working on writing this story or should I get to writing the review on the Penumbra series? For those of you who are wondering, I finished the Penumbra series, the Penumbra Black Plague game, on Tuesday. So if you want to see how that game ends, you can go ahead and look there. But I personally am not going to play Requiem just because Penumbra Requiem, it's not really a horror game. It's just a puzzle game with spooky vibes and no enemies. And it really doesn't add anything to the Penumbra narrative. So I feel like it's just kind of a slapped on sequel, if that makes sense. Technically, it's not even a sequel. It's more of a expansion of Black Plague. However, I will say this. It has the most awesome version of the game's theme. Actually, I am going to pause the lo-fi beats we've been chilling to for just a moment, because I need you all to hear this. Penumbra Requiem. Game audio. Get it to... Which one is it? Here it is. Yeah, listen to this. Isn't it just, like, beautiful? It's so somber. Like, it's a pity that this particular version of the theme is tacked onto a game expansion that's so... What's the word the kids use nowadays? Mid? Wow, I just made myself really sound old there, didn't I? Hear what the kids are saying nowadays? Get off my lawn! Where's my dentures? You and me both, brother. For those of you who are wondering, I am actually 30. I turned 30 No, 2 months ago now. But yeah, so that's the theme of Penumbra Requiem, which is an evolution from... Like, listen to this now. And I'm heading there myself pretty soon. But yeah, that's Penumbra Requiem. This is the theme from the first game, which is my second favorite version of the theme. Because... yes, they keep the same theme, but have it slightly different between the two games. Oh, Jakin, thank you so much for the raid. What were you playing tonight? Jakin, I am sorry. I would adopt the cat, but my townhome landlord does not, well, it's not I can't adopt a pet, it's more of a financially I cannot afford it. But yes, thank you so much. Binding of Isaac's always a fun one. I think I've played that on stream myself about once now. I think I played that, though, just because I was like, you know what? I don't really have a plan for today. I didn't want to have a plan for today. I just wanted to play something. And I was spending my stream writing, but then I kind of got distracted by talking about the music of the game series I just finished last week. Not last week. Tuesday. Tuesday was when I did that. But now we're just kind of chilling. Very much chilling. Sorry to say, I think you're coming up right as I'm hitting an ad break. What game? I don't know if you're familiar, but it's made by the same people who made Amnesia: The Dark Descent. It's called Penumbra. I actually played it back when I was a high schooler. And basically, I was just kind of talking about the intro themes for a little bit and how they keep the same notes, but they do it slightly differently between all three games of the series. Now, all of the game's story is unfortunately in the first two games. And then, which the first one's called Penumbra Overture. Penumbra was a great game. I am right there with you, Jakin. Like, I actually beat Black Plague on Tuesday. I, however, will admit I refuse to play Requiem. It's called Penumbra Requiem. It's actually more of just an expansion to Black Plague. But here's the thing, okay? Requiem doesn't really add anything to the story. It's basically puzzles with spoopy themes, less so actually a horror game, if that makes sense. And it doesn't add anything. Like, it doesn't complete anything from Black Plague that wasn't already pretty much tied up. But for those of you who aren't at all familiar with the series, so they did Amnesia, but they did also do Soma. You are right, Jakin. I have actually, I think I have most of their games, come to think of it. Let me look in my Steam library real fast. You got the goods? Yeah, that's what they all say. Alright. But yeah, banger. Yeah, it is. But let's see what they got here. Yeah, they've made the Penumbra series, which consists of Penumbra Overture, which is the first game, then Black Plague, which is the sequel and actually the end of the story, and then Requiem, which is just basically the main character from the first two games dying dream. You need help? Yes. Let me help you with that. Okay, there it goes. Alright. But yeah, then they go on to make Amnesia, which has about 4 games in it now. There's Amnesia: The Dark Descent, Amnesia: Machine for Pigs, Amnesia: The Bunker, and there's also Amnesia Rebirth. And somewhere between Amnesia Rebirth and Amnesia: The Bunker, they made Soma, which is a standalone game and probably the only game I know of that they made that wasn't technically in a series. But yeah, the developer for it all is named Frictional Games. That was it. And actually, regarding the Penumbra series, there's a couple of other games, one of which is a tech demo that Frictional made to kind of show off their engine. And then there's a mod called Penumbra Necrolog, which is a fan game. I've heard great things about it, and that it actually is a real, comparatively anyway, a real continuation of the Penumbra story, unlike what Requiem wound up being. But of course, since it's not officially made, unless, Frictional's like, hey, we endorse these people, they did good job, it's not official. Actually, I should probably give that a go. Oh, and it's an Amnesia mod, which isn't a game I happen to already have. We might give that a play during Sinister Endeavors. Especially since it's a mod, so it's free! No, it's literally free. Oh, you need to put that in.
I don't.
I know. So you got to because the printer says so for some reason. Because there's stupid like that. Yeah. I don't know why printers need to be so freaking complicated. Like, it's like, okay, you installed the ink cartridge now, but now you gotta scan the alignment sheet. And I mean, it's like, why? Yeah, now it's like, scan the alignment page, buy the HP ink subscription. It's ridiculous. Like, well, it asked me if I wanted an ink subscription. And I was like, no. Like, unless you're doing, like, industrial levels of printing, that ink subscription makes, like, no sense. Yeah, it makes them a lot of money.
More than just.
Yeah.
But it's.
Believe it or not, actually, printer companies most of the time sell their printers at a loss because they make the ink so damn expensive. Alignment. Oh, there's probably color that needs to be on the alignment sheet. Wait, they're like instructions on direct. Yeah, printers are dumb. Yes, printers do make people reason. Oh, shit. Do we need to make another drive down there? Amnesia Custom Story might have been my first stream when I was a wee lad. Sorry, I was in it. No worries, Jake, and I get it. Like, the only reason I have ad breaks the way I do is just because it prevents pre-roll, but at the same time, because I don't have pre-roll, I'm able to tell when the majority of the audience is in ad jail, unfortunately. But yeah, I completely get it. Amnesia Custom Story. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone who is in ad jail. Sorry you had to deal with that. But yes, White Wolf, I'm right there with you. Printers do make people reasonably crash out. Like, it's like, okay, we had the capabilities of a printing press for how long? Why is it so hard to make printers that just do what they're supposed to do? It might have been a machine for pigs. Ooh, interesting. Oh, actually, I'm looking at the time. I'm probably gonna have to wrap this up here in a minute. All right, let's go ahead and call it a quits and go back to my normal screen. And turn off the sound because I'm finding the sound a bit distracting. So, thank you everyone so much for participating in stream tonight. I'm so happy you all came by. So, just to reiterate my announcements real fast before I raid out. So, yes. Oh, lovely. It did work. You were right. But yes, Worshippers of Cthulhu won the unfinished business poll. Hopefully you have an awesome rest of your day. I think this weekend's gonna be great. But yeah, let's raid out to... Ooh, it looks like Chef Lion's on. I'm going to send you his way. Go follow Chef Lion. He is wonderful. I don't know what he's playing tonight, though. He says we'll find something to do, so it looks like it's a surprise. But yes, Worshippers of Cthulhu won the poll, and this Tuesday we are going to play more Shadows over Loathing. It's going to be the last or second to last time we play that in this rotation. And then on Friday, we are going to be playing Pandemonium, which oddly is a horror game about pandas. Yes, you heard me right. It's a horror game about pandas. And was there anything else? Yes. Next Sunday, the 25th, I am going to be playing Alone in the Dark Illumination with Roishi Gaming and Finley Fish. So, thank you everyone so much for watching. And, probably gonna do a little bit of a shameless advertising real fast. If you want to hear more about community events, join the Discord. It's free as always. We definitely do not take your soul or anything. And let's get that raid to Chef Lion going. Thank you everyone so much for watching this evening. And as always, here at Corvid Communications, we won't leave you eating crow. Have a good night.